and all of them. Okay, so now, did you just hear that? Recording in progress. Bit of housekeeping.
Yep.
So the session is going to be recorded. If you don't want to be on video, you can take yourself off, but hopefully you'll stay on. Anyway, all right. So our guest today, if you haven't already guessed, is Cass. And Cass is living in Hong Kong at the moment. So she's got a bit of time up her sleeve. So we've got her to join us, and we're going to have a quick chat with her. Now, someone close to my heart, she's my baby sister. In case you don't know. Anyway, Cass is from the graduating class of 1982, but she actually didn't finish year 12, which is Australian, sixth form, because she actually left Fiji with the family. So we'll get to Cass. Tell us about your hierarchy. You come from a big family.
Yes, I'm number 7 out of 7. So Ange is correct. Even though I say I'm graduating class of 1982, technically or officially, I didn't graduate from xSJSS because I left midway through 5th form, which is when I immigrated to Canada with mum and dad. But obviously spent very formative years with xSJSS from 3rd form to middle of 5th form. But yes, I'm the baby. So when our papers to immigrate came through, I was well, actually, no, I wasn't the only child left at home. I was the only girl. My brothers decided, the brothers in Fiji decided to stay because they had girlfriends. And so I was the only one who left with mum and dad, because at 14, there was no way they were leaving me in Fiji. Much as I wanted to, but I'm glad, obviously, parents always know best. I'm glad they forced the issue. and yeah, so that's what happened. So officially I graduated from high school in Canada.
So with going from Fiji, there was a big change, I know that. How did you manage the cultural and climate change, like the Kaidolo from Fiji landing in Canada?
Yeah, definitely. Well, at least when I arrived, it was September, so autumn weather, so still very, very pleasant. School, yeah, that was definitely a culture shock. Big high school. I don't remember how many students, but I know it was relative. There were quite a few. No uniforms, a lot of students driving to school. Obviously, I mean, I was very naive about drugs, but I knew it was prevalent amongst some of the students. As a newcomer, they love the Canadians. So the Canadians love British accents. So arriving as I did with a strong British accent, having had lots of nuns and British expat teachers in St. Anne's and St. Joseph's, I attracted a lot of attention, which I actually was very uncomfortable with because unbeknownst to a lot of people, I was actually quite shy as a child. I don't know what changed, but and yeah, so the attention was very much unwarranted. Or not, yeah, I would speak, and all my classmates their heads would pivot, and they asked me to say things. And the one I always laugh at is there's one conversation where I joined the conversation and they picked up on the British accent, and they just said, oh my God, are you British? And I said, no, I'm not. Where are you from? And I said, from Fiji. I can't remember whether that registered with any of them or not. And they said, but you've got a British accent. And I said, it's because most of my teachers were trained in the UK. And I said, in Fiji, you know, it was a British colony for a long time. And so I remember this one girl saying, "Oh, love the British accent. Can you say water?" Which is how the Canadians say. So I said, "Water." And she said, no, that's not how you said it. And I said, "Oh, you mean water?" She said, "Oh my God, you know, Jesus." And you know, subliminally, that's all it took for me to go, "Oh, okay, my accent is making you stand out." I'm sure there are other things that made me stand out, not good things, but subliminally that made me realize my accent made me stand out. And so I would say subconsciously I then picked up the Canadian accent to assimilate. And I in hindsight, you know, when I think back about it, I realize that now. But yeah, so they weren't doing it to be nasty. I just didn't want all of that attention. So I found out quickly the way to assimilate was to speak the way the Canadians did. But yes, it was a baptism of fire. You know, last year of high school, as you can imagine, most of the students already had their group of friends. You know, they'd all gone up from junior high school throughout. So, but you know, humans were resilient. There's always pockets of people who are looking for new friends. So I was fortunate. I made some friends, and then from there you make other friends, and they connect you to other people, and then before you know it, you're part of a group. So yeah.
Well, that didn't. You got all that started, and then you got the travel bug, and you wanted to leave. You just got settled, and then you said, I'm up in sticks and I'm leaving.
Well, yeah. Depends on what you mean by just. I was there for 9 years.
9 years. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
So you got the travel bug and you moved to Australia. You were still quite young at that stage. What experiences did you bring with you, and what experiences did you gain from that, leaving that, you know, settled environment again?
So something mum doesn't remember the conversation, but I remember the conversation. So when we first, not long after we arrived in Canada, I was you know, moping around, because as teenagers will want to do, you know. I was upset that I'd been dragged halfway around the world from Fiji to Canada. I actually, you know, would have preferred to be in Australia, because Ange, you and Fleur were there. And I remember moping around the house one day, and Mum asked me what was wrong, and I think I must have said something along the lines of, you know, I'd rather be in Australia than Canada. And she said, "Well, you understand you're too young for us to leave you in Fiji with your brothers. You are too young, and your sisters in Australia are too young for us to have given that responsibility to them, you know, because Ange is only 2 and a bit years older than me, and Fleur is 6. So if I was 14, you know, that would have put Fleur at, you know, 20 and Ange at 16. So, you know, Mum said,
we were partying too hard.
Well, yeah, you were still a bloody teenager. So yes, you know, this is what I mean about parents know what's best. So at 14, 15, Mum had said, you're here with us. And she said, when you're older and we think you can make your own decisions, and if you still want to move to Australia, she said, obviously at that stage, I won't stop you. Now, Mum to this day doesn't recall that conversation. She says she doesn't remember saying it. But then 9 years later, when I was 23, 24, I had already started work. I'd been working for a few years, had money under the belt, and yes, got the wanderlust. And Ange and Fleur have been saying for a few years, come to Australia. And I thought, well, it's now or never. I'm young, I'm single, I've got no dependents, I love traveling. So off I go to Australia. So I quit my job, and I remember
interview.
Huh? Interviewing me?
No, they're interviewing this girl.
And yeah, so when I mentioned it to Mum, she says, I don't remember saying that. And I said, well, you did. Anyway, so they didn't stop me. And yeah, so, you know, what did I learn? For me, that was definitely a leap of faith. Yes, I had support network insofar as sisters being in Sydney. So it wasn't a complete, you know, complete experience where if I had I didn't have a fallback. The worst case is if Australia didn't work out, I would have gone back to Canada. But there was a part of me that just said, I don't want to live a life of regret. So this is something I want to do, and so I did. I was homesick for Canada for the first 3 years. That's quite normal. Psychologists will tell you that big events like that will take about 3 years. So, but then after 3 years, I felt more settled, and I took when I say take a lot of risks, probably not a lot of risk. I just grabbed a lot of opportunities that came, you know, came to hand. I pursued a lot of opportunities, and so what it's taught me is to say, you know, if you don't put yourself out there, you will miss opportunities.
Yeah. All right. So when you left, just going back a little bit, when you left high school, did you know what you wanted to pursue in life? Did you have a roadmap for what you wanted to do? Nope.
I was so I was quite young when I graduated. So I was 16, just over 16. Normally in Canada, it's 18. So gosh, you know, who at 16 knows what career path they want to do. I remember I had about 5 choices: teacher, journalist, photographer. Those were 3. I can't remember what the other 2, but I remember I had about 5. But none of them, you know, I didn't really know enough about them apart from the teaching one, and had no mentors in those fields. So when I graduated, I didn't apply for university because I really had no idea what I wanted to do, and just doing a Bachelor of Arts didn't appeal to me. With most of us Leong children are very practical because our parents are very practical, and I didn't want to sign up to a bachelor's and major in something and then find that that's not something I wanted a career path I wanted to pursue. So I did what I thought was the most practical thing, which was not go to university at all and just, you know, do a whole bunch of different jobs just to, you know, see what was out there. So I'd been waitressing in my last year of high school. The restaurant I was waitressing at offered me more hours when I graduated from high school, so I went and did that. And then while I was waitressing, a family friend who owned a big supermarket was chatting to Mum and Dad one day, and they said, "Oh, your daughter has cashier experience. We're looking for a cashier." So Mum and Dad said, "Oh, Uncle Dan is hiring. He's paying more money than we're waitressing. You know, do you want to go and do cashiering?" Okay, sure. So I went and did that, and it was a conversation actually with our older sister Fleur. She had gone up to Canada for a holiday, and on her last day we were sitting having lunch, and by this time I'd been at the supermarket, I think coming up 3 years, and Fleur said to me, "What are you doing with your life, Cass?" And I said, "What do you mean, what am I doing with my life?" I said, "I'm working, I'm earning money." And she said, "You're far too intelligent to be spending your life at a supermarket as a cashier." So,
as big sisters do.
Yeah, of course. Well, it's mentoring, right? I mean, yeah, I see it as mentoring now. So, you know, because in high school, in primary school, you know, I did well. You know, I was generally top 3 in the class. In high school, because, you know, boys and romance books and all of that stuff came into the picture, and I didn't apply myself as hard, so I think I dropped to top 10, which Mum and Dad weren't very happy with, but anyway, such as it was. Yeah, so, you know, Fleur, knowing my history, said, what are you doing with your life? And when I said, I'm working, what do you mean? She said, yeah, you can do better than being a cashier. Yeah, obviously, no disrespect to cashiers or anything. It's not really a career path. So anyway, long story short, I said, well, I don't really know what to do, what I want to do. And so she talked about, she asked me questions around, what are some of the things you like doing? And we landed on, I said, I like to travel. So through a series of discussion, the questions that came about that, okay, I like to travel. Okay, well, I'm too short to be a flight attendant. So, okay, I'll go and train as a travel agent. And so I went into work the next day and I resigned. I resigned. I signed up for a travel agent's course, which, timeline, this was May. This course wasn't starting until after the summer. I think it was late August. So I thought, okay, great. I've got a career plan. I'm going to go get trained as a travel agent. It's May. I've got the whole of the summer to enjoy myself. I'm just going to bum around, enjoy the summer before I start my course. I'm not one really, I have way too much energy, not one to just sort of hang around. So after I think about 3 weeks of hanging around, and obviously all my high school friends, they were off doing their different things. Most of them had signed up for uni or doing summer classes. So I had no one to hang around with, and I got bored. So I thought, well, actually, I'll go find a summer job, earn some pocket money before my course starts. And so I looked up the papers, and there was this job that said securities broker's assistant required, no experience necessary, we will train you. I had no idea what a broker's assistant did, but I thought, perfect, I've got no experience. And as it turned out, it was a securities company. And so I went for that first interview. They came back and they said, we're going to give the current open role to another young lady. But Liz, the hiring manager, said, she said, in 2 months' time, she said, the other assistant role is coming available. She said, if you're still interested, she said, I can give you a call then. Now, I took it as the whole, don't call us, we'll call you. So I didn't think anything of it, but of course, I politely said, yes, absolutely, call me. I didn't expect to hear from her, so I thought, okay, I tried to find a summer job, didn't work, so I'm going to go back to sunbathing and just hanging around. Lo and behold, she called me as promised. She said, if you want, she said, that second role is now open. And so I thought, yeah, okay, why not? And yeah, so as it turns out, it was a securities company. And 3 weeks into the role, I realized, yeah, this is what I love. I love the world of finance, markets and finance. And yeah, that was the start of my journey.
So when you came to Australia, you went back to uni and you did a master's. How hard did you find that?
Yeah, not immediately. So when I arrived in Australia, I actually arrived on a visitor's visa because I was actually going to go to Australia and do casual work, bum around, yeah, travel around and work. And again, I just not in my nature to do that. So again, just through a series of pursuing opportunities, and I ended up being hired by what is now Deutsche Bank in Australia. And I made it very clear to them to say, I'm here, I only have a visitor's visa. And they said, oh, not to worry, we sponsor people all the time. So they sponsored my work visa, and so that was 4 years, because I think the maximum they can sponsor is 4 years. And then when the 4 years was up, I said, my work visa is coming up to expire, and they said, well, if you want, we'll sponsor you for residency. So they sponsored my residency. I got that. So that was 1990 when I joined, and in 1997. I was approached by the learning and development team to say the bank is sponsoring, I think they were going to put, I seem to recall there were about 12 of us across the bank, and I'd been nominated by someone to do the masters. So was it difficult? Yeah, it was difficult. I mean, I was working on the global markets dealing desk, so 12-hour days, very intense days most of the time, and studying at the same time. But I like to push myself, so that was a good lesson in as humans we are capable of a lot of things. We need to stretch. So it was a tough time. I didn't think I would. It certainly, I certainly haven't rushed back to doing any other postgraduate degree since. But it was a tough time because it was lectures after work, assignments that were due with very, very, very tight time frames, weekend lectures. But I'm glad I persevered, because not having an undergrad degree would have impeded my career progression in this field for sure. So I'm glad I made the effort. And it was paid for by Deutsche Bank, so I can't complain.
Bonus. All right, so on a lighter note, so if you could spend one-on-one time for a day with someone in the modern world, who would you choose?
Oof, gosh, that's a tough one. There's so many people I'd love to spend time with. Look, wow. Yeah, I know. Look, I'm halfway through reading Obama's biography. It's heavy going because it's a lot of US politics, and I'm not a big fan of US politics. I like the person who he is. But more to that, I would say Michelle Obama.
Okay.
She's an incredible woman. I've read her book, Becoming, and just the tenacity herself. She's a qualified lawyer, putting her career on the back burner to support her husband through the presidential election, being the first lady for 8 years. Just inspirational. I mean, for somebody at that level, with that sort of visibility, she still comes across very human.
Okay. All right.
You see her on talk shows and stuff, and she's very different. Oh, she looks like somebody who is approachable, and very inspiring.
Okay, right. I'm going to push this along because Karen's got a whole lot of questions to ask as well. One question: if someone narrated your life, who would you want to narrate it?
Someone narrated my life. Oh,
who would you want to be the narrator?
Oh goodness. I don't know. I've never really thought about that. Who do I want to narrate my life? Okay, I will go with Oprah. While I'm on the American Black woman theme.
Okay.
Yes.
And I'll probably wrap it up with my last question. If I shouldn't say this, if your job gave you a surprise paid break for 3 days, what would you do with those 3 days?
In the current weather that we have in Hong Kong, it would be hiking and finishing off with a cold beer and a lovely seafood meal somewhere. All
right. Well, that wraps it up for me. That's your life, your working life. So I'm going to pass you over to Karen, and she's going to ask about the other half